Actress Natalie Wood was found dead today,
Her body was found floating here.
Officials said she apparently drowned accidentally.
but nothing further on the circumstances.
She was the face of classic Hollywood, America's sweetheart, a child star turned screen legend. But on a cold November night in 1981, Natalie Wood vanished from a yacht near Catalina Island. They told us it was an accident. They said she fell, that she drowned. But the bruises, the arguments, the contradictions, they all told a different story. For 40 years, the truth stayed hidden beneath a glittering surface of fame, fear, and silence, until now. Natalie Wood didn't just rise to fame, she exploded into it. By age 4, she was already appearing in films. At 8, she stole the nation's heart in Miracle on 34th Street. And unlike so many child stars who faded into obscurity, Natalie made the leap into adult roles with astonishing grace. Her performance opposite James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause earned her an Oscar nomination and marked her as one of the most emotionally raw and captivating stars of her time. But behind the camera, Natalie's life wasn't as picture-perfect as it looked. She battled the pressure of perfection, the expectations of stardom, and the weight of being America's sweetheart. Her public image was carefully curated, but privately, Natalie often expressed a longing for stability, for something real in a world built on illusion. Her career reached new heights, but so did her internal struggles. She often confided in close friends that she felt like a product, not a person. She lived in fear of failure and feared fading into obscurity more than anything. At 19, Natalie married rising heartthrob Robert Wagner. Hollywood swooned, two beautiful stars in what looked like a real-life fairy tale. But behind closed doors, things were far more complicated. In 1961, Natalie allegedly discovered Wagner was having an affair not with another actress, but with another man. In that era, it wasn't just scandalous, it was devastating. She filed for divorce the following year, and while the tabloids clung to their perfect image, Natalie was quietly unraveling. Friends say she was heartbroken, not just by betrayal, but by the shame, the secrecy, and the weight of keeping it all hidden. Her private heartbreak was masked by red carpets and studio smiles. Adding to the pain, she was forced to smile for press junkets, while her personal life imploded behind the scenes. Publicly, she was radiant. Privately, she was breaking. It was during this time that Natalie began seeing a therapist, quietly trying to unpack the trauma of her marriage and the industry that both made and imprisoned her. After her divorce, Natalie's romantic life became a whirlwind of high-profile names: Warren Beatty, Michael Caine, and David Niven Jr. Each relationship promised a fresh start. None of them lasted. She eventually married British producer Richard Gregson and gave birth to her first daughter, Natasha. For a moment, it looked like she'd found peace. But once again, it all fell apart. By 1972, she was divorced again. And that's when something unexpected happened. She went back to Robert Wagner. Some saw it as doomed from the start. Others called it fate. But one thing was clear. Natalie wanted to believe in second chances, maybe even fairy tales. Their reconciliation was heavily photographed, documented in magazines, and billed as the romantic comeback of the decade. But those close to Natalie weren't convinced it was real happiness. Some said she looked more tired than ever. Natalie and Wagner remarried in a private yacht ceremony in Malibu. They welcomed a second daughter, Courtney, and projected the image of a happy family. But was it all for show? In 2015, former FBI agent Donald Wilson came forward with a bombshell claim. He and Natalie had a 4-year affair, starting while she was pregnant with Courtney. He claimed their connection was emotional and physical, but entirely secret. Wagner never responded publicly, and the story faded, just like so many of the rumors surrounding Natalie's private life. Yet whispers of unhappiness continued. Some said Natalie had changed in those final years, more withdrawn, more anxious, like she knew something was coming. Behind her eyes, there was always a flicker of unease. November 28, 1981. Natalie, Wagner, Christopher Walken, and yacht captain Dennis Davern set sail on the Splendor near Catalina Island. What was supposed to be a relaxing weekend turned into one of the most disturbing unsolved cases in Hollywood history. Witnesses said there was drinking, there were arguments, and Wagner allegedly became enraged over Natalie's closeness with Walken. Some say she stormed off, others claim she fell, but by morning, her body was found floating in the water. She was just 43. Her death stunned the world, but the details were murky from the start. The dinghy was untied, her jacket was missing, her injuries didn't align with a simple fall, and still, no one could give a straight answer. And then there was the wine bottle, shattered, a fight overheard by nearby boats, cries in the night, but no official record. Authorities were quick to label it an accidental drowning, but many close to Natalie didn't buy it. She was terrified of dark water. She wouldn't go near it, especially alone at night. More disturbingly, her body had bruises, suggesting she may have struggled or been assaulted before going overboard. The dinghy had been untied, the timeline didn't add up, and the people on board weren't talking. Captain Davern gave a statement, then went silent. Walken barely spoke about it, and Wagner, he was the last person to see her alive. But his story kept changing. One moment he was asleep, the next he was on deck. His version bent with each interview, and in interviews after the fact, Wagner dismissed suspicions, insisting the night was uneventful, but even his tone raised eyebrows. In 2011, everything shifted. Dennis Davern finally broke his silence. He admitted he had lied in his original statement. He had been pressured to protect Wagner. According to him, the couple argued violently that night, and when Natalie disappeared, Wagner delayed calling for help. The case was reopened.
It wasn't until 30 years later that the LA Sheriff's Department reopened the investigation.
In 2012, the coroner updated her cause of death from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. Bruises, inconsistencies, omitted testimony. The deeper investigators dug, the more the truth unraveled. And in 2018, Wagner was officially named a person of interest. But by then, decades had passed. Memories had faded, and justice seemed more out of reach than ever. Natalie's sister, Lana Wood, continued pushing for answers, releasing books, appearing in documentaries, and calling out what she believed was a cover-up. But Hollywood, it remained silent. There was even speculation about who may have pulled strings to keep Wagner protected. His connections, his contracts, the studios. All of it added fuel to a fire that never quite burned out. 3 men on a yacht? 1 woman dead? No clear answers. But here's the chilling part. Game theory may explain what happened next. When reputations, careers, and possibly even freedom are on the line, people don't act to uncover truth. They act to survive, strategically, quietly, together. Walken clammed up. Wagner deflected. Davern stayed silent for decades. Their actions weren't random, they were tactical, not to find justice, but to avoid it. What if the real story was never about the fall, but the cover-up that followed? What if protecting the Hollywood image meant burying the truth, no matter the cost? Maybe it wasn't just a tragic accident. Maybe it was a collective decision to pretend it was. The silence wasn't just telling, it was damning. Natalie Wood's death shocked the world, but what's more disturbing is what happened after. The silence, the shifting stories, the way Hollywood closed ranks around one of its golden couples and let the truth rot beneath decades of denial. The investigation may never lead to a conviction, and maybe we'll never know exactly what happened on that boat, but here's what we do know. Natalie Wood didn't just slip and fall. She was failed by those around her, by the system that protected them, and by the culture that allowed it all to be swept away. The case is technically still open, but the window for accountability may have already closed. The mystery remains, but maybe it's not really a mystery at all. Maybe the truth has been there all along, hidden in plain sight. Natalie Wood wasn't just another Hollywood tragedy. She was a bright, brilliant woman who deserved better. And the real crime might not be her death, but the silence that followed it. Should Wagner have been charged? Drop a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more forgotten Hollywood tales.